Hey guys, welcome back. So here's what you're going to need for this whole process. You want to start off with your mannequin head, of course, and you're going to need a spandex dome cap, polyester thread, a pair of scissors. You're also going to need some T-pins, preferably a whole pack, not just one like I'm showing you guys. And then you're going to need some balm weave. So this is what the hair looks like straight out of the pack, and once I washed it, this is what it looks like in its natural state. Then you want to grab your closure. This is from Travian Beauty. The hair is absolutely amazing, like I told you guys. You can check them out. I'll put the link in the description box for you guys. So now let's begin. You want to just basically apply the not apply but like place the dome cap on the mannequin's head, and just make sure you don't have too many creasing, so folding or whatever. And yeah, so now you just want to double the wefts. What I mean by that is, as you can see, I'm showing you guys there's two lines of the bundle attached together instead of just one. And I mean, you can also do one depending on how many bundles you have. I have 4 bundles, so I basically have a lot to kind of fit in on the head, which is why I'm doubling the wefts. So now what I'm doing is I'm using my T-pin just to basically guide me and help me just maintain a straight line. This is really helpful, especially if this is your first wig that you're making, and it's also best to have more than one T-pin, like I said. Okay, now so for the actual sewing portion, how I like to do my wigs is, so first of all, I like to just take the pin and anchor it into the dome cap. And as you can see, I went through the fabric of the dome cap, and I didn't go through the actual elastic band that's on the outer corner. And I just basically anchored the needle into the dome cap, like I said. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go underneath the weft of the bundle and basically anchor the hair or the bundle into the dome cap as well, if that makes sense. So I just put the needle through one time, and then I go again, and this second time that I go through the weft, I actually create a knot, and I'll show you guys that in a second. So yeah, like I said, I go through the bundle second time, and as you can see, I pull the needle through, and once I pull the needle through, I go around the needle with the thread 2 times. And what this is going to do is going to create a knot, and this knot is just going to essentially secure the weft and make sure it doesn't budge. And I like to just do these 3 steps, especially when it's like at the edge or like at the end of any bundle, just so it's very secure and it stays in place. And now I'm just going to do basically the last step in terms of creating the knot. I'm just going to continue to do that, and that's how I'm going to sew the rest of the bundle. Yeah, I hope that made sense. I think it did. But yeah, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comment section. So yeah, you guys, I'm just sewing, and as you can see, I'm going through the fabric. I'm not going through the elastic band. I actually learned this from I forget her name, but I watched the girl's video on YouTube. I can link her video in the description box. It was actually a really good wig video as well, so just so you guys can have other resources to go to. So as you can see, you guys, I'm sewing from ear to ear. If you notice, I started around the ear area at the beginning portion, and I'm also sewing to the ear area on the other side of the head. And basically you just want to create basically a smiley face going around the head until you get to the top. Alright you guys, so now I'm going to show you guys how I do the fold over method. And here, because the weft is doubled, you want to be careful to make sure it's really flat, just so there's no like bulging or bulkiness. And you basically do this method just to avoid cutting your wefts and reduce the amount of shedding. Yeah, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm just basically creating an outline by placing my weft, just lining it how I want to sew it essentially, and then I'm using the T-pin just to secure it in place. So what I did is I put this second layer basically just slightly on top of the first layer that I did, so this way it's on a fresh surface of dome cap. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just slightly on top of the first portion of the weft. And I'm now just going to continue sewing, and I'm making my knot again just to make sure it's nice and secure. Yeah, I hope what I said made sense in terms of just sewing just directly above, just so it's on like a fresh new layer of fabric. So yeah, you just want to keep sewing and yeah, carry on from there. Okay guys, so this is what a fresh bundle looks like, and now that I'm at the top, I'm actually going to be sewing it in single wefts. As you can see, it's just one line. And the reason why I do this is because I want more of the volume to be at the bottom of the hair, which is why I double weft the bundles at the bottom, and then once I get to the top, I kind of want it to be nice and flat and not too bulky, and so I do the single wefts. So here I'm just showing you guys the fold over method again at a different angle. As you can see, I'm just going to place this bundle that I'm holding on to with my left hand just slightly above the one that I had already sewn beneath it. And as you can see, I use the T-pin to just basically anchor it into the mannequin head to guide me in the direction that I want to sew. Alright you guys, so now I'm close enough to the top where I think it's time for me to put on the closure. While you do this, you can actually do it in a different way, in which you put the closure on first and then continue sewing your wefts, or you can sew your wefts halfway through and then put the closure and then continue sewing your wefts. It doesn't really matter, it will still yield the same result. So here I'm just showing you guys the closure that I'm using, and as you can see, the knots are not bleached on this closure yet. So for placement, what you want to do is you want to align the excess lace that's in front of the closure to be just a little bit past the elastic band in front of the dome cap. I hope that makes sense. And I think I show you guys what I mean. Yeah, so you can see how the extra lace is just slightly, like it's past the elastic band. And then you just want to use multiple T-pins. I use just one just because that's all I had on me, and you just want to pin it all around and make sure it's completely flat, you guys. As you can see, I was kind of looking at my closure placement and I saw that it wasn't really centered properly, and I readjusted it. And also for this step, I recommend you use, like, you thread 2 needles, just because it's easier that way for you to sew this part down and make sure it's completely flat. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the left side and then I'm going to sew the right side of the closure, like, separately. So right now I'm just doing the method I told you guys before, in which I first put the needle, I anchor the needle, and then I create the knot on the closure just to make sure it's nice and secure, and then I continue to just sew, creating a knot as I sew along, basically. Okay, so I did a little bit of the left side. Now I'm just showing you guys me doing the right side and why you need 2 different needles to do this step. Okay, so as you can see, I started sewing the left side and then I moved on to sewing the right side. That way everything is like uniformed. Alright you guys, so right here I made a mistake, so I'm just going to show you guys how I corrected it. So as you can see, the knot that I was trying to create basically got tangled, and when you get to this not when you get to this part, but like if this happens, don't panic. Just basically use the needle and put it right in the middle of the tangle or the knot that just created, and basically loosen it up, and then retrace your steps essentially and unwind the needle, if that makes sense. And just continue sewing like normal and everything should be perfectly fine. Alright, so now that I've sewn down the closure on both sides, I'm just going to continue sewing my wefts like usual until I get to the top of the closure. Alright y'all, so this is what everything is looking like so far. Closure is on. We're really close to the top at this point. As you can see, there's just this little, what do you call the shape? Is this a semicircle? I guess that's left. And what I'm just showing you guys now is that you want to basically sew in a zigzag kind of motion at this point, or like in straight lines, if that makes sense. So don't do the smiley face thing anymore. You just want to go straight, sew straight across, and do the fold over method. That way this part of the wig is going towards the back area, if that makes sense. But yeah, so this is what everything looks like once I am done. And yeah, so now we're just going to cut off the excess wig cap that's under the closure, because of course we want it to look super realistic and look like it's going from our scalp, and our scalp is not black in color. So I'm just going to be cutting off the excess wig cap underneath the closure. So be careful while you're doing this as well, because you don't want to cut the thread that's there. And you want to have something like this, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to bleach the knots. For this step, what you're going to need is a plastic mixing bowl with a plastic feather brush, okay, or comb. I used the comb in the end. You want to use some bleach. I used the Loreal bleach, and you need some developer as well. This is 40 volume. I used some neutralizing shampoo to wash off the bleach, as well as Shimmer Light purple shampoo to tone it. So now you're going to need about, not even, honestly this was actually too much, so maybe half of this little cup, and then also a little less developer than what I added. And then you're just going to mix everything together until you get a nice not super duper thick, but like super thick consistency where it's not dripping. And once you get that, you know that you are set and ready to apply your mixture onto your closure. Okay. Now you want to get a small piece of foil, and you just want to place the wig directly on top. Do not press it down, you guys, because you don't want the bleach to get into the actual hairs. And you want to leave it on for 10 to 15 to 20 minutes at most. Okay, so now I have washed and conditioned and toned my lace closure. While the hair is still damp, I'm going to do some customizing, okay? Now what you need for this is simply just a good sharp tweezer. What you want to do is, I just like to separate out some baby hairs at first, and then start to just pluck at random areas. And don't just pluck in one area, you have to kind of move towards the back of the hair, if that makes sense. So you pluck this line, move towards the back, move towards the back, move to that way it's like a nice gradient effect. And then I just keep doing this, and then I use a comb to just take out the excess hair that I just plucked. Now after doing this, you want to just comb back the baby hairs that you took out at first, and as you can see, there's that straight artificial looking hairline. So what you not want to do is you want to just pluck once again at random spots until you get a nice realistic looking hairline, okay? And just make sure it's nice and thinned out. All right, so don't be too scared while you're doing this plucking part. There's still a lot of hair in the closure, so you'll be all right. So now I'm just taking out some baby hairs again. Now this is where you can actually create your own baby hairs. Say if your closure doesn't come with any baby hairs, so you can just take out some little hairs and you just want to kind of run the scissors through it, if that makes sense. So don't just cut like straight across, just kind of feather it out so it's not too sharp, if that makes sense. And now I'm also going to just cut off that excess lace, and I'm going to also cut it kind of in a squiggly motion, just so it doesn't look like, just so it's not in a straight line as well, if that makes sense. So I'm just showing you guys what the hair is looking like so far. This is what it looks like while it's all done. So yeah, that's how you make your wig, guys. I hope this was helpful, and I'm just going to show you guys how I style it, okay? So stay tuned for that. So now it is officially the next day, and I'm just showing you guys what the wig looks like while it has dried. And what I like to do is I like to tie my hair back into a low ponytail. I hardly ever put my hair in cornrows. I don't know, I just like, it just is long, and if I'm in a hurry, this is just what I do. And then I use the Got To Be spray, and I spray that on my hairline. I know I'm using a closure, so I only need like just a little bit of the spray on the hairline, and I spray this 3 times, let it dry each time before I spray a second round, okay? So as you can see right now, the hair was in like a side part, but I wasn't really feeling the side parts. I don't know, what do you guys think? Was the side part nice? So I just basically created a new center part for myself, and I got a spray bottle that has some water and a little conditioner in it, and I just started to spray down the hair just so it can actually fall in the direction of my center part. And as you can see, as I'm spraying it with water, the natural waves are just coming out, and it's so pretty. And as you can see, the closure blended seamlessly into the bundles, which I'm so happy about. But yeah, this is what the closure is looking like so far. Very natural looking, and I'm super proud of myself for this, you guys. Anyways, so I'm just still doing some customization. Now I'm using this Frizz leave-in conditioner from Anthony. Really like this stuff so far, and it just honestly helps to reduce the amount of frizz and humidity that affects curly hair, and it's really good. So you guys should check it out. So now I'm just basically doing a little plucking on my new center part, just so you know it looks a bit more realistic. And yeah, try not to over pluck your parts, you guys, so it doesn't look too wide, because then that just it's not cute. So now I'm just grabbing some Got To Be gel, and I'm just going to use this to slick down the little baby hairs that I made. I personally don't really like a lot of baby hairs that much, so I did very little, like next to nothing. But yeah, so this is what the hair looks like. Alright you guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you found it helpful. Please leave your feedback in the comment section, and thumbs up this video if you do like it. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!